Welcome to another edition of the Monday Night Wars on WCW's side here for week 28 of the war. This is April 15th, 1996. This is the 31st episode of Nitro, but the 28th week they go at it in the wars. Nitro this week lost to Raw for the second straight time. Raw got a 3.1, Nitro just a 2.8. Relatively close loss. So through the 28 weeks, Nitro has 14 wins to WWF's 12 wins and 2 draws. A 14-12-2 record. Not bad. This is the Nitro that lost the week with a 2.8 rating. Steve McMichael, Eric Bischoff, Bobby the Brain Heenan. Those three, the trio, have done every single Nitro so far. Haven't missed one. Nitro begins with Bischoff saying, "Don't bother watching Raw. Tune into this for the next," as they tuned in 3 minutes before Raw started. But Raw would counter that and go up against Nitro 3 minutes before at the exact same time in coming weeks. Bischoff talking about being live as live can get from the Charleston Civic Center in Charleston, West Virginia. Opening match, Hulk Hogan and the Booty Babe versus Arn Anderson and Kevin Sullivan with Jimmy Hart, Miss Elizabeth, and Woman in a 2-on-1 handicap match. It wasted no time. Hulk Hogan took on both guys. In this match, he grabbed chairs and cleaned house using weapons to win the match. Kevin Sullivan cheap shots Hogan with Jimmy Hart and Arn Anderson, so it was 3-on-1 at times. Hogan amazingly gets Sullivan and Arn with the leg drop at 4:12. Hogan wins and pretty much buries Sullivan and Anderson in the process, saying that he can win 1-on-2. Hogan then gets in the ring with Liz afterwards because Hogan gets a manager of his choice to be in the ring afterwards with Woman sacrifices Liz and Woman says, "Take me instead." Hogan gets in the ring with their managers if he won, and he grabbed Jimmy Hart. He said, "Forget these two ladies. I want you, Jimmy Hart." Jimmy gets down on his knees begging Hogan not to hit him. Hogan strips Jimmy Hart's shirt off, then an atomic drop to Jimmy Hart. Hogan with the big boot. Then Giant comes into the ring. Giant grabs Hogan by the throat and chokeslams him. Only it didn't have any effect. Hogan gets right back up from the Giant's chokeslam, and he hits the Giant with a boot and slams him. He breaks the eyes of the Giant and then slams him, and then he goes for another slam. Mean Gene then almost got slammed because he turned around and went to slam him again, but it was Mean Gene looking for an interview. Mean Gene was in the ring, and Hogan grabbed Mean Gene up in the air, and then he let him back down on his feet because he thought he was the Giant. Mean Gene then asks, "Hulk Hogan, what is this all about?" And Hogan cuts his basic promo. The mic was cutting in and out, so you couldn't really hear what he said, but "What you gonna do, brother?" pretty much. Bischoff says Hulkamania is running more wild than ever before. It's debatable. But there's only a couple months left of this Hulkamania before he turns black and white. Black and white. The Hulk Hogan that we all know and love is going to turn soon when the NWO comes. The Nasty Boys, can you tell that I'm looking forward to those episodes? The Nasty Boys, Brian Knobbs and Jerry Sags take on the Public Enemy, Johnny Grunge and Rocco Rock. Not that these episodes are terrible, but still, they get a lot more interesting, and the ratings show that too. The ratings just skyrocket when the NWO comes. This is based on a triangle match from a couple weeks ago when Nitro was last on the air. Steiners took on Public Enemy and I believe the Road Warriors in a triangle match, and the Public Enemy dressed as the Nasty Boys. So the Steiners got the win over the Nasty Boys, but it was it was Johnny Grunge of Public Enemy dressing as Brian Knobbs, and then he got pinned by the Steiner brothers, but it wasn't Knobbs, it was Grunge. So the Public Enemy and the Nasty Boys have heat from that, and that's why they meet in a Falls Count Anywhere street fight tag match here. This match is full of trash cans, steel chairs, brawling mostly inside and outside the ring. Both wrestlers go at it. Bischoff says who will break first, the Public Enemy, showing their hardcore roots, and the Nasty Boys, who show their brawling roots. Trash can lids, tables breaking, there are no rules. Those are the rules. Repeated blows by both teams. Knobbs driven first straight into the chair by Rocco Rock. Sags with a hard shot to Grunge. Lid shots by Sags as they hold weapons in their hands, and they end up getting cheers, just pummeling, pounding thuds. You hear every trash can, table, chair was dented. Repeated shots into broken tables even. Rocco Rock set up a table by the ring, and that's important. You remember that. The table set up by the ring. It's not used yet. That'll be after the match. Knobbs is choking out Grunge with a broken table in the ring. Sags then outside of the ring with a clothesline to Grunge and a near fall. Rocco Rock with Segs with a trash can headshot again. Nasty Boys trip up Public Enemy with chairs. Public Enemy in the ring, setting up a table in the ring in the corner of the ring. Grunge goes up top and Rocco Rock elevates him, and Knobs move out of the way, and they pin Grunge as he breaks the table, but he doesn't get the guy through the table. He moved out of the way in time. Nasty Boys pinned them at 9:17 to get the win. After the match, I gave it 2.5 stars. After the match, it was a sloppy hardcore match, but pretty vicious and ahead of its time. But after the match, both teams continued to brawl, and Public Enemy then with that table that's set up outside the ring, the somersault plancha by Johnny Grunge, sacrificing Rocco Rock, who stood on the apron, and both guys go into their opponents, the Nasty Boys. I believe it was Knobs, who goes right through the table, so the Public Enemy with a somersault plancha onto the other Public Enemy guy on the apron, through the table on Brian Knobs, the Nasty Boys. So Public Enemy get a little bit of revenge for losing the match there. Macho Man Randy Savage took on Earl Robert Even with Jeeves. Earl Robert Even, a part of the Blue Bloods with Steven Regal. Earl Robert Eaton takes on Macho Man. Macho Man comes out with a nice ovation, and he takes it to Robert Eaton. Macho Man's still looking for Ric Flair everywhere, so Earl Robert Eaton tried to be Ric Flair in this match to get to Savage, and it got to Savage, so much so that they had to handcuff him after the match to protect himself. These were his friends handcuffing Savage after the match to say, don't beat this guy, the hell out of this guy. Earl Robert Eaton wrestled a good match with Savage here. Snapmares, hammerlocks, all the technical wrestling that you could think of. He played mind games. He started strutting around like Flair, and then he put on the figure four, and then he held a Horseman shirt. Jeeves gave Earl Robert Eaton a Horseman shirt, and he went like this. He put it in front of his face while he had Savage in the figure four leg lock, and so Savage was going crazy. Savage then slams him to the canvas, goes up for the elbow drop and wins. Then he goes up for the elbow drop again, and Savage wasn't going to let go of Eaton. I gave it a 1.5 stars. Savage wasn't going to let go of Eaton, but then another elbow splash, and like I said, his friends came to the ring with cops, and they handcuffed Savage to make sure he protected himself. Heenan said he's never seen that in wrestling, where a wrestler is handcuffed to protect himself from another wrestler. Luger and Sting, I gotta think somewhere Heenan has seen that, but no, I guess not. Not in 1996 anyway, he says. Luger and Sting defend their world tag team titles against Ric Flair and the Giant with Miss Elizabeth and Woman. Horsemen hit the ring. Flair comes out with Liz, Woman, and the Giant and the world title. Luger and Sting have the gold of their own, and then they come to the ring next. Sting starts out in there with the Nature Boy. Flair's going to style and profile before they go up. They lock up, and Flair ends up getting his ass kicked by Sting, and then tagged to Luger. Ends up getting a shoulder tackle and a military press by Luger. Flair gets thrown into the Giant's hands on the outside. The Giant tosses him back inside the ring. Luger kicks the shit out of him and then tosses him to the outside. The Giant catches him, throws him back inside the ring. Sting then kicks the shit out of Flair, and then Flair gets sent to the outside into the Giant's hands. Giant throws Flair back inside the ring, so Flair rolls out of the ring and chops his own partner, the Giant, on the outside for throwing him back in the ring like a lawn dart. So it was funny. Luger and the Giant going at it now. Finally, Flair tags out. Giant then kicked at Flair. A tag into Flair as they rough up Lex. Sting needed the hot tag. He ended up getting it. But then Woman threw coffee in the eyes of Luger, and Luger and Sting retained the titles by DQ at 10:34. The hot coffee to Luger and Sting. The show ends with the Giant and Flair covering Sting, but no counts as they were already disqualified by when Woman threw the coffee in Luger's eyes again. The woman with that hot coffee. Bischoff says that Luger set up Sting for, Heenan says that Luger set up Sting for that, and Bischoff said, "Get out of here," to Heenan, because he's trying to stir up the turmoil. Woman caresses the world title of Flair's as they walk to the back. Just wait till the NWO is coming. Just a couple months. Just a month and a little bit till Scott Hall shows up. I can't wait for those episodes. This week, 28 of the Wars. Nitro lost 3.1 to 2.8. So they just drew a 2.8 rating for the episode, even though they weren't on the week before. They have a 14-12-2 record against the Raw. 14 wins, 12 losses, 2 draws. And I gave this episode a 5.5 out of 10 quality-wise, because it was formulaic for the most part, but a wild tag team match. So that does it for this week's Nitro. Stay tuned for the next one. I'm Brett Mix. Hit like and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching, everybody, and we'll see you on the next one.